The other day, the question was brought up about what's natural and what's right and what's wrong in the world. And the video that spawned the conversation was a video of a Japanese man eating the tail of a lobster while it was still alive. The lobster was literally just sitting on the plate with his tail exposed, and he was just picking at the tail and eating it. And one person commented, and though it's valid, it just goes to show that they haven't given it much thought. But the valid point was that this is what's natural. Animals do not cook their food. Animals don't always take precautions to ensure that their victim is as pain-free as possible, and this is very true. Crabs, for one thing, are one of the most violent, along with certain insects, as far as torture is involved, where the prey animal could be alive for a long time before it finally dies, while they pick away at it and eat. So yes, it's a valid point, but here is where it is wrong. And at the time, I just couldn't come up with anything. I knew it was wrong. I just didn't have the words to articulate it. And here it is. So, natural law, the biggest one everyone knows, survival of the fittest. In this case, I suppose you could say, well, if a robber breaks into your home and murders your family, I suppose that would be correct because it is survival of the fittest. You are not the most fit for the environment the other person was by thieving and killing your family. So, according to what he had said, the act is correct. However, here is why it is wrong. Not only is it wrong by law, but when you think about time and space, you think about we're not that long on this earth. We really are not. And when it comes down to spending the time here while we're alive, we have two choices. We can make our time heaven, or we can make our time hell. And it is our choice which of the two becomes a reality. So really, heaven and hell have nothing to do with afterlife. It has everything to do with the here and now. If you want to create hell on earth, technically it is correct. You can, and you will, if that's what you really want to do. But why do it? If you have the choice, which you do, why not create heaven instead? Everyone has the ability to be the devil or a loving God. Everyone has that power. And that's what's different here, is people are looking for reasons to say what's right and wrong. And in the end, that's what it boils down to, is heaven and hell. Which do you prefer? And that is here on this earth. Do you want to make heaven or do you want to make hell? And the goal, of course, is to make heaven. Why? Natural law supports it. Believe it or not, it supports it, because when you create heaven, when you're good and nice to someone, when you do good things, do you not receive pleasure mentally? You do. Your body rewards you. Dopamine flows and serotonin goes through your veins, and you feel a euphoria. You feel really good, a goodness that nothing else can equal. Now, yes, you can feel good about eating a brownie, but it's really not the same feeling. It's very different. But again, your body is rewarding you. Nature is saying, yes, this is correct. Now, on the same token, on the other spectrum, when an animal makes a kill, let's say, okay, let's do a person. Let's say you have been stranded, you're lost in the woods. Out of desperation, you managed to somehow snare a rabbit. You're ecstatic and yet sad at the same time. It's your first kill. You're not sure if at that moment it's right or wrong. All you know is you are starving, and it's winter. There's just been no vegetation. It's your only hope of survival. The feeling of eating, you are rewarded because your body says, I want you to live. Your body says, whatever you have done, put it behind you. I will reward you in this moment because you are saving yourself when you had no other choice. So again, if that were not the case, if it were not survival, you would not be rewarded because you would feel overwhelming guilt because what you did was wrong and it was wasteful. And do not confuse these feelings with someone who is dysfunctional. What is dysfunctional? Dysfunction is when something does not function the way that it should. For instance, a serial killer is dysfunctional. Natural law and civilized law have no idea what to do with them. They go against all other laws, and it's chaotic. They are dysfunctional. The way that they think is not correct. It does happen because, the body replicates itself, cells replicate themselves, and things happen. Sometimes there's a mistake. And I believe that's what it is, because even natural law says that you shouldn't harm your own. And yet these individuals will abuse children, will even kill children and kill other people, which again is dysfunctional because it doesn't go with, it doesn't go with our natural law, which is to maintain the family group because we are social creatures, which ensures survival, which ensures that our species continues. If we were to kill one another, we would really be extinct eventually if everyone was that way. We would just kill each other off and there would be nothing. And so natural law does not support it because natural law wants us to live on and live out our lives as long as we can. So do not confuse certain dysfunctional emotions and thoughts with this because it's not a factor. And it's not on the same plane. It's apples to oranges that you would be comparing, and your analysis would just be all wrong. And not only that, it would be confusing. You wouldn't know which way to turn. So with that in mind, taking it back, the reason we are to be merciful is because of the choice we have between heaven and hell. You know what? If you want to live in hell, you are more than welcome to live in hell. Quite frankly, my body rewards me for living in heaven. I don't know about you. So that's why you want to gravitate towards anything that produces heaven. All laws aside, whatever creates heaven on earth is what you should be doing. Period. End of story.